Welcome back to Wagertalk.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined with Ralph Michaels. We're going to break down the big game in the NFL this week. A lot of games don't mean anything this week, Ralph, but there's not one bigger than this one. This could possibly be a play-in game. Well, it's definitely for the division title. But if Washington happens to win earlier in the afternoon, one of these teams is not going to the playoffs. If Washington loses, they're both in the playoffs, but we're deciding who's the wild card and who's the division champ. And the Packers, what can you say about them? They've been on fire down the stretch, winners of 5 in a row, 4-1 against the spread. The Lions, our buddy Johnny Detroit, he keeps tweeting out, he's seen this movie before, and it's like Groundhog Day, the same result over and over. Will the Lions choke, buddy?
Well, the Lions are now playing with extreme pressure. 2 straight losses. We've seen them drop the spread, 3 straight games. And, the offense, 16 points per game the last 3 weeks. I think the benefit they have here is being at home. You're going to have a huge wave of emotion. It's going to be as loud as any game has ever been in Detroit. And, one note, my first thought when looking at this game, because of that emotion, because of those fans at home, because Detroit having played the last 2 games on the road, I might even look to play the Lions here in the first quarter. I think, it's Green Bay just runs a couple plays, try to take the fans out of it, and Detroit running on the emotion. But then we look in the long term. Detroit played Monday night, Green Bay played on Saturday. Huge edge to Green Bay. Having to travel back from Dallas and play on a short week makes it very difficult. Detroit 1-8 their last games, over under, 8 games under the total, 1 over. Green Bay the exact opposite, 7 overs, 2 unders. Dynamics both ways.
The question I have for you, and I like to, we use statistics. You always have to use numbers in your handicapping, but I do a lot of stuff with emotion and situational stuff. Do you think it affects either team differently if Washington loses early and then it takes away the pressure of not making the playoffs, then it's just the pressure for the division?
I think as a pro and as a coaching staff, it's not going to. I think you're going into warm-ups. You have your routine hours before the game, not worrying about what happens. I don't think you distract yourself in those warm-ups. So I think while they're going to know what happens, I think the routine is exactly the same, and Green Bay goes into it regardless of either situation. The thing that you look at with Green Bay is they give up so many yards. I mean, they are horrific. They are last in the NFL at 8.0 yards per attempt. So that really benefits well to Detroit wanting to pass the ball. But on the flip side, Aaron Rodgers, 14-0 ratio the last 6 weeks. Both teams, I'm gonna lean this way with a higher scoring game, as I think it's going to be a little shootout and a fun Sunday night game to watch, or we call it Sunday night game to watch.
It is. They flexed it into the Sunday night game. They do this every year where we get the game that means the most. I look at this one, and for me, I think that if it becomes that both teams are in the playoffs, I think it actually benefits the Lions a little bit more, because as far as pressure goes, Green Bay has been there and done that much more than the Lions have. So if the Lions are free rolling where we know we're in the playoffs, it's just, are we a wild card or are we the division title? I think they can play just a little bit looser. So definitely if Washington loses, they'll put that score up on the scoreboard for everybody to see. I think the books are going to get pounded with Green Bay money. I think this is going to be, John Q. Public's going to want Green Bay. They don't trust the Lions. They saw the Lions Monday Night Football. Yes, it's a disadvantage as far as the scheduling goes, but I think we're getting a little bit of that built into the number. If you remember, the line closed the first meeting early in the season. Green Bay was only 6 at home to the Lions, and now we're looking at a number of 3.5 on the road. You're paying a premium to take Green Bay here, and I think it's just a little bit too much. My concern, as good as Green Bay has looked offensively, you brought up the numbers defensively. The thing that sticks out to me the last 2 weeks is they played Chicago, and Minnesota, not your two best offenses in the NFL. They gave up 27 and 25 points on back-to-back weeks. Granted, they had leads in some of those games, so it forced those teams to have to play from behind, but Minnesota couldn't get points on the board this year no matter what. So that concerns me. I think the Lions will get their points. I'm going to go ahead. I've got to lean to the Lions here, plus the points. I texted our good buddy Johnny Detroit to say, I told him today, I said, I'm going with Detroit on the video. Order your playoff tickets now. He just told me I was insane, that I should call a doctor.
Packers 0-4 is an away favorite this year, and that usually happens when you give up almost 30 points a game.
There you go. All right, so Ralph looks for a high-scoring game. I look for the Lions to prevail. I'm going to take them plus the points. And, guys, don't forget, every Tuesday at Wagertalk, it's $2 Tuesday. We pick a capper, or I should say Johnny picks a capper, and he makes him the $2 Tuesday best bet. You get it for just $2. If you tuned in this week, you got my $2 play yesterday. It was my NBA game of the week. We had the Lakers +5. They only lost by 2. Utah took the lead late and easy cover. So check that out each and every Tuesday. It's a great way to introduce yourself to Wager Talk or to a new capper. Each and every Tuesday, $2 Tuesday. We'll be back with more here at wagertalk.com.